Over the years, I've learned that educational content can clarify, attract, and sell, so it's key to growing trust, an audience, and a business. So why don't more people do it? Well, this might sound crazy, but maybe the problem is that it's just too easy. So we've injected all this drama into the process to make it harder. That makes us doubt ourselves. That energy then goes into our content, which kills our authority. And then we create a whole body of work that goes unloved. So what's a girl to do? Well, it's simple. We've got to end the addiction to a mental model called creating content is just too hard. I want to give you the easiest way to cut through this content is too hard problem. It happens to nearly everyone starting out, which is natural, but only a sliver of people seem to go on to create the stuff that makes everybody the richer for it. The key is to understand the true nature of resistance. Resistance is not futile. It's necessary. It makes you stronger, like the wind and rain make the trees and flowers stronger. But only to an extent. Overdosing on vitamin R can be deadly. The problem is that we secretly love resistance because it instantly makes us 110% sure of ourselves in a way that nothing else out there can. So the more, the better. Like when suddenly some idiot cuts us off in traffic, or we hear something stupid on the news. That's a key feature of resistance. But resistance to what? Well, actually, to the very idea that there are even boundaries to parts of ourselves we don't quite understand. But those are the parts we need to make our content. How do I know that? Because we aren't making it yet? So, what's the dosage of vitamin R that makes it medicinal instead of poisonous? It's simple. Enough to recognize we have the resistance, but not enough to do what the resistance is telling us we must do. So if we just notice the resistance and stay with it a moment, we make an astonishing discovery. This is based on the ancient idea first introduced by Hermes Trismegistus, who eons ago wrote, "As above, so below," which simply means that there is a nested hierarchy to our universe. Let's go within and see how this works. So have you ever wanted something your whole life, but it was always beyond your means? Why? What good would it do you to be miserable every day for 30 years over something you can't have? I often wanted to own a new plane. Not a jet, nothing crazy, just a simple 4-seat, $900,000 Cirrus, like people do. Well, I mean, they do let you choose the color. It's just that it's always been a tiny bit over my budget. But if you look a little deeper and remember that as above, so below applies to resistance, you realize that behind the persistent desire for something you can't have is the universe inviting you to live on a higher, happier level. But you can't get there from your present level of consciousness any more than you can buy a plane out of your present bank account. And in the very moment you realize that, the ego-based need for the plane evaporates and you become an aspirant for a better way to fly. This is what releases your creativity and the energy to create whatever you want, especially content. Now, many people watching here do things unusual enough that no one is really looking for them in the yellow pages. The yellow pages. Imagine a heading for physical, psycho-spiritual wellness for middle-aged, stressed-out type A female executives. There's also no keyword they can optimize for that. They have to find ways to bridge the gap between what people are looking for and what they do that's so effective. That's where educational content can be an almost magical solution. And yes, they know they have to do it in a way that doesn't burn them out. So what happens when there is a belief that creating content is too hard when content is the very thing that will work the best for you? Well, You'll probably look for any kind of alternative, right? That's letting the resistance tell you what to do. But what if you just looked at that creating content is too hard belief for a moment from the perspective of as above, so below? Maybe creating content from the level of ego is not for me. What if I'm supposed to create from a level of awareness where content creation is easy? Remember, you can't do anything from a part of yourself you don't understand. It needs to be lit up first. Bottom line, those who want to but don't create believe in their resistance instead of in their true selves. Let's look at how this works. The unwanted moment pops up as you see a competitor's blog post you wish you had written, or at least gotten the result from it they did. That voice says, they can do this, but not you. Ow! So you take the hit, but then you remember, as above, so below. What is the message for me? Maybe that I've been trying to sense my true inner authority from a false part of myself, a part of me that actually can't understand, let alone create anything that's true. Now, don't believe me. Prove it to yourself. You'll know soon enough. The ideas will bubble up while you're on a hike or stuck in traffic. You won't have to force them, and you'll start creating like no one in your niche ever has. This is what happens when more of you gets involved, and now you know how. This also happens to be something we look at quite a lot in the inner circle. In short, recognize the resistance, refuse to do as what it says, and then rest in the result. Just wait for an answer. It won't take long. Then share your answers in the form of videos, emails, whatever works for you and the ones you serve. No matter how long you've had this belief, you can let it go, and your life will never be the same. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on The Visible Authority.